AITA for telling my parents I'm surprised they want to come to my wedding when it's not about them? I'm 24F, getting married to my fiancée Mari, 25F. Mari's family and I are super close and they adopted me into the fold basically because they know I'm basically estranged from my own parents. Before my parents reached out about my wedding, I had not seen or spoken to them since June 2021. So before I get into the current issue, let me explain some background. My parents had me when they were 30 and 32. They had been married for 8 years by then and both were settled into their careers. Ever since I was a really young kid, my parents were very open and honest and clear with me that they were each other's priority and their spouse was more important than their kid was. They told me I would never come before their spouse. What this looked like is, my school had a parents' conference on a Friday, but my parents liked their date nights on Friday, so my parents didn't go and didn't care about repercussions for me. My dad had a work dinner the same night I had an awards night. Mom went with Dad to the dinner. Mom and I caught a really bad flu when I was 9? I might have been 8. Dad made sure he prioritized taking care of Mom, and when it came to seeing a doctor, instead of trying to get both of us in, Mom went first. They'd take time off work if the other was sick so they could care for each other, but mostly I had to go to school, even when school policy said no. I was left with a family member one night because Mom had a work party/celebration. I was rushed to the hospital that same night because of my appendix. My parents didn't show up until the party was over. Dad didn't want to ruin Mom's night. Once the school bus didn't show up, my dad's car was in for repairs, so Mom was driving him to work. They said they didn't have time to take me, so I had to spend the day with the elderly neighbor and didn't go to school. My parents didn't even call to tell the school, so I got shit the next day. They missed my high school graduation for each other too. They often told me how much they had already sacrificed for me and how I shouldn't expect more, and especially not at the expense of their marriage/relationship. Eventually I was like, yeah, you know what, we don't need to be in each other's lives. Clearly I'm just a burden. Even though I was actually planned. My parents would sometimes call to tell me something, but that took forever. I never intended to invite them to my wedding. But they found out about me getting engaged, called me up, asked why they hadn't been told by me and wanted to know details so they could arrange their schedules now. I told them they weren't invited. My parents told me not to be silly because of course they are. This is when I told them I was surprised they wanted to come since it's not about them. My parents called me rude and said I had no reason to be so standoffish about this. They told me common sense would say they will be there. AITA?